Hello, I'm Cassie Knoll. This week on Suncoast FYI, Curious Critters, Children's Books, The Artist's Cafe, and we help you get prepared for hurricane season with the 2015 Suncoast Hurricane Expo. All next on Suncoast FYI. Thanks for joining us today on Suncoast FYI. David Fitzsimmons is an award-winning freelance photographer and writer, and he joins me now to tell us about his latest book. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cassie.
So tell me about your latest book here.
Well, I started back in 2011 a series of books called Curious Critters, picture books for kids, and they've been very successful. We've gotten a bunch of National Book Awards, and so I decided to focus this time, instead of on land animals, to focus on animals in the ocean. So I have Curious Critters Marine.
And now that you're holding with the octopus on the front, I'm noticing that your tie has the same octopus on it?
That's right. I do a lot of children's events. I visit schools, and so I love to match the ties with the covers of the books. So I actually have one that matches each of my 3 books.
That is awesome. I just noticed it as you put them near each other. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Good thinking on that one. So what got you started on writing books?
Yeah, it's a good question. So actually, if I go back to my childhood, my dad was an outdoor educator, ran an outdoor education program. His name's Mick Fitzsimmons, and my mother, Judy Fitzsimmons, was an elementary school teacher and an English teacher. So I got interested in bringing nature and writing together, and I married my wife, Olivia, who is a naturalist. So a lot of forces came together, and as I was photographing animals for a commercial project, people said to me this type of photography with a white background would lend itself very well to a children's book. So I started the series with the first book with the frog on the cover, and that did very well. We sold over 100,000 copies.
Wow.
So now I travel across the country trying to connect children with nature.
I looked through the books in the commercial break, and they had me hooked, and I'm not a child, but I absolutely loved it. Because your photos are so crisp and so beautiful. How do you get the animals to look so good? Yeah,
so one of the keys is really good equipment. So I use specialized Sigma macro lenses that allow me to get in very close and get lots of details. And then I place the subjects inside what's called a light tent. It's a 3-foot cube, and it provides very soft lighting. So some people wonder, do I take these animals, photograph them anywhere, and cut them out in Photoshop? And the truth is, the sculpting of the shadows and getting it just right is done using the specialized softening technique with the light box.
Wow, and when you actually take it, not in After Effects.
That's right. So it's actually shot with a white background behind it, and that creates the really soft lighting.
So how do you do that with, let's say, an octopus?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So I build custom aquaria. In the case of the octopus, I traveled to Alaska and photographed it at the Alaska Sea Life Center, and so we use aquariums for different sized animals, and I build those, and then we put the animals in there and hope for the best.
Oh my goodness, and the pictures, they're just absolutely stunning. There's one of them in there of a lobster that it looks like the lobster is sitting on the page.
Oh, it's the blue lobster. It's from the Mystic, Connecticut Aquarium. I've traveled all across North America, including 4 locations here in Florida, to photograph them, and that lobster is 1 out of every 2 million lobsters is born blue. So it's really amazing. It actually changes color throughout its life. As it's getting ready to molt, it isn't quite as brilliant as it is in the book here. And then as it molts, it then with the new shell, it actually has a darker color.
That is really neat. See, I just learned something new just sitting here chatting with you. So, okay, so you said you photographed some of those critters here, and you did that actually at Mote Marine.
I did. I worked at Mote Marine. They're one of my really strong partners. They are so committed to education. Part of their research component is sharing it with people. And so they're a great partner. I came in and photographed a number of animals at Mote Marine, 2 of which ended up being featured in the book here, the lion seahorse and the cushion sea star.
Very, very cool. So, in your books, you were telling me the way it's written is in first person?
That's right. When I originally wrote these books, I wrote them with just sort of facts on the page. But once I sat down and looked at those, and my brother, who has kids, looked at it, he said, you know, you could make this more interesting. Why don't you make it like the animals talking to you? So just like when you interview a guest here and you get to know their personalities, that's how I pretend. I interviewed the animals while I was taking pictures of them, and then recreated their personalities. So you have animals, some are happy, some are grumpy, some are telling jokes, some are angry, and so it makes for a lot of fun reading.
I was going to say, I noticed on the page where you had the, what was it, the Hawaiian...
the Hawaiian reef hermit crab.
Yes, the hermit crab, that he says aloha. And
he does.
All of the, typical Hawaiian terms.
That's it, exactly. And so I didn't try to focus just on teaching kids natural history, but teachers often use this book and parents so that kids can learn about, say, language arts. They can learn about the concept of voice, how we create different voices in writing. So I tried to cover a lot of different axes that teachers could use when they're using the book.
Which actually goes back to your background as well, because you're not just a photographer and a children's book writer. You actually are a teacher.
I'm a teacher, yeah. I have a master's and PhD in English from Ohio State University, and I actually taught on the university level for 10 years.
Wow.
And I left that position to now travel around and try to help connect children with nature, which I think is really important as we're concerned about environmental issues. We really need to start young, and so this is a way for kids. Of course, I want them to get out and experience nature, you know,
Yeah.
see the gulls flying over the beach or walk in the woods and see squirrels or tortoises. But at the same time, they can supplement that with reading.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how often are they going to go to Alaska and look at an octopus? Like,
That's right.
You know, and that might stem their passion for that animal, and they'll want to protect it and learn more about it in the future as well.
That's right, and in the case of the marine book, the oceans cover 70% of the world, but we only know about 5% of what's in them. And so this is a chance. Maybe we'll spur some future marine biologists by reading this book.
Yeah, which, speaking of all of that, you actually have a couple events coming up. You have one going on tonight. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's right. I'll be at Barnes & Noble, Sarasota tonight doing a program at 7 p.m. It's a children's event where I'll be using puppets and the kids will interact. There's a calico crab that's found here in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's a detritivore. It eats trash off the bottom of the ocean. So I throw a couple pieces of paper on the ground and the kids pick it up like they're picking up trash and learn what it's like to be a crab.
That's pretty cool. They get like little shells and they get to do the crab walk and all
That's
that good stuff.
right.
Get to do all that stuff.
And we have puppets, so there's a puppet that matches that character and other animals.
That's really cool. And then continuing on with that, you're going to be at Moat Marine tomorrow for their World Oceans Day. We learned about that last week on Suncoast FYI. And so you're actually going to be reading your books at the event?
That's right. I'm going to have a couple children's performances. I'll be there from 10 until 1 doing some book signings, but we'll do 2 puppet programs with the kids at Moat Marine. So that's tomorrow from 10 to 1. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to go over to the Selby Library. And so here in Sarasota at the library, I'll be doing a children's event at the library itself, again using puppets and talking to the kids and then signing books as well.
And you're going to be very busy over the next couple of hours.
I am, yeah. I'm on a 2-week book tour as well. So it's brought the whole family along with me, and we're having fun. It's beautiful down here.
I'm saying you seem very passionate about what you're doing, so that's what matters too.
Yeah, I love connecting people with nature.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. Where can people go for more information about your books?
So if you'd like to learn more, go to curious-critters.com. That's curious-critters.com. And you can see some of the techniques I use to photograph. There are pictures of that. And if you order books through there, I'd love to have you go to some of the events here or check out some local retailers. But if you order them from there later, I sign those copies, so I'd be happy to sign copies if you miss me at some of the local events here.
And you also have more books coming up in the future?
I do. I'm photographing for Curious Critters, Florida. It'll be a board book for the very young readers, and I've been traveling around photographing more animals here in Florida, so stay tuned next spring.
All right, very cool. Well, go check out the website, curious-critters.com, and thank you again for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Cassie.
And next on Suncoast FYI, we'll have the details about the all-new Artists Cafe, so stay tuned.